Hello everyone, and welcome to another Genshin lore video. Today, I'll be going over the bloodiest part of Mondstadt's Aristocracy and the story of Eberhart. This lore is given to us through a few collectibles found around Dragonspine, as well as a few other artifact sets and weapons. Also, this video does contain spoilers for the quests listed on screen now, so if you haven't done those, you have been warned. Anyways, let's move right on and get into the video. Today's story starts with Eberhart, a noble of Mondstadt's aristocracy. He was an illegitimate child of the noble Landrich, and he had two half-brothers named Parzival and Ingbert. Due to his status as an illegitimate child, combined with the stories he heard about the old aristocracy, he began to resent the current state of the aristocracy. He wished to bring back the former glory that it once held, regardless of the cost. This wouldn't be a problem for Eberhart though, as he was a cruel and manipulative man who didn't care what he had to do to achieve his goals. All that mattered to him was that he got what he wanted in the end. To show off his character, I wanted to tell the story of the unnamed gladiator, featured in the Gladiator's Finale artifact set. This gladiator fought for the entertainment of the nobles, though he did eventually win his freedom. However, Eberhart liked seeing this gladiator fight, and he was not happy when he was freed. As such, Eberhart manipulated the gladiator to continue fighting, even after his freedom had been won. The gladiator wanted to impress Eberhart, but Eberhart only saw him as entertainment. Eventually, the unnamed gladiator would be defeated in the arena by Vanessa, who was also a gladiator at the time. As he died, the gladiator looked towards Eberhart's seat for one last bit of acknowledgement, only to see that his seat was empty. It was only during his final moments that the gladiator realized Eberhart had been using him all along. While this story is quite cruel, it's only the tip of the iceberg for Eberhart's awful deeds. After the death of the gladiator, Eberhart would soon begin plotting to become a legitimate heir to his family. However, to pull this off, he would need to get his brothers Parzival and Ingbert out of the way. They were both legitimate children of Landrich, which put them in the way of the evil Eberhart. Parzival ended up being the first brother that Eberhart went after. When he was young, Parzival was known for his disobedience and his love of chivalric play acting. He loved the idea of becoming a phantom thief to help those who were less fortunate. Knowing this, Eberhart convinced him to chase this dream. Eberhart's manipulation worked, as Parzival would steal a sword, the Alley Flash, from his own family's vault, before fleeing from his noble house. From then on, Parzival became a phantom thief who hid in the shadows of Mondstadt. As a phantom thief, he would rob the rich nobles and give the goods to the poor commoners, much like Robin Hood. As his title suggests, he only struck at night, where he was able to hide in the shadows to avoid being caught. Eventually, he acquired a bow known as Alley Hunter, which helped him tremendously in his robberies. He was loved by the commoners of Mondstadt, but he still preferred to drink with his friends. However, this all changed one fateful night. Parzival was leaving a mansion with stolen goods when he noticed a woman in the window whose eyes were as blue as the gem in the silver cup that he had just stolen. He was absolutely struck by her beauty and climbed up to the window to see her. He would pry the gem out of the cup and give it to her as a token of love. This woman was the blue-eyed spear witch, whose real name may have been Josephine. Unfortunately, the blue gem given to her by Parzival had the crest of the ruling family on it. When her master saw this, she would be labeled as the thief, and her face would be branded with a criminal's brand. Naturally, she became quite angry at Parzival for this, despite still holding love for him. They did eventually meet again, where she warned him that she would one day pay him back for the scars inflicted on her due to his actions. However, this was the last interaction they ever had, and the two never met again. Eberhart would soon deceive Parzival in some way, forcing him to flee from Mondstadt. Parzival would bury the sword he used as a phantom thief before fleeing across the sea to Liyue. At some point after this, the blue-eyed spear witch would take on Eberhart as a disciple, as he wanted to learn the art of the polearm. As her title suggests, she was very skilled with the spear, and taught Eberhart how to take advantage of the fatal weaknesses of his foes. Unfortunately for her, Eberhart would use this skill against her. While she was distracted thinking about how she missed Parzival, Eberhart took the opportunity to stab her in the back. As for why he killed her, the exact reason is not known. However, we do know that the polearms were viewed as inferior weapons meant for commoners by the nobles of the aristocracy. Since Eberhart was a noble, he likely didn't want anyone to find out that he had been trained to use a polearm in secret, which led him to kill his teacher. Sometime after all of this happened, a group of young Mondstadt nobles would embark on an expedition to the frigid mountain of Dragonspine, known then as Vindagnir. This group consisted of Eberhart, his half-brother Ingbert, their friends Nick and Luther, as well as a few other unnamed people. Unbeknownst to everyone else, Eberhart had conspired to betray the others while out on this expedition. He had laid down several traps on the mountain that slowly dwindled the group's numbers. He made use of the dangerous environment of the mountain, making it seem like his traps were merely tragic accidents. At one point, the group got caught in a snowstorm, with the unnamed members being separated from the others. Eberhart convinced the others of his group that the unnamed members would be able to make it back to camp, and that they should investigate a secret room on the mountain. When they got there, they were unable to open the door to the secret room. Additionally, a cave-in would occur here that killed Nick. While it seemed natural enough, it was all part of Eberhart's plan. When the remaining members returned to base camp, they did not find the unnamed members there as expected. During the time they were separated, they likely fell victim to one of Eberhart's traps. Either way, Eberhart, Ingbert, and Luther decided to stay at camp until the storm died down. The following morning, they pursued their original plan of investigating a cellar on the southern side of the mountain. At this point, Eberhart wanted to take out both Ingbert and Luther personally. As such, he took out his polearm and moved to attack. Due to the surprise aspect of this attack, Eberhart managed to injure both Ingbert and Luther. However, Ingbert soon counterattacked using his vision, which heavily wounded Eberhart, forcing him to retreat. Ingbert did manage to catch up with Eberhart shortly after, but this time, Eberhart would succeed in killing his half-brother. Luther managed to stay alive long enough to write down what had happened, but he soon died from blood loss. Eberhart then continued his plan, heading to the eastern shore of the mountain. Although he was severely wounded, he managed to make it to the spot where he had hidden a boat and some supplies. His plan was to sail back to Mondstadt and finish his plot. Before he left for the expedition, he told a woman named Priscilla to light a torch at Stormbearer Point if the aristocrats were to learn of his plan. They did, so Priscilla went to light the torch. However, Priscilla was discovered and likely killed by the nobles. According to Stevens at the Dragonspine Adventurer Camp, there is no record of Eberhart returning to Mondstadt, leaving his fate unknown. He has presumably died by now, likely succumbing to his wounds while out at sea. The only surviving brother at this point was Parzival, who fled to Liyue after Eberhart's deception. On this journey, he only took a slim sword known as the Iron Sting and a blue feather with him. He had no idea what had happened on Vindagnir, and he had also no idea that the woman he loved had been killed by Eberhart. Either way, Parzival soon became depressed, which led him to becoming an alcoholic. While in Liyue, he would meet the skipper and join his crew as chief mate. The skipper had recently faced a great sea monster that cost him his old crew, including a young maiden who he loved, and he wanted revenge. Parzival thought it would be fun to get revenge, so he followed the skipper in his quest. Together, the two managed to slay the giant sea monster, though it did cost them their lives. 500 years after this, Parzival and the Blue-Eyed Spear Witch were used as the basis for a Fontanian play, written by playwright Coppelius. This play would go on to inspire the stage names for a pair of Fontanian magicians, Parzival the Great and her sister and assistant, Josephine. Speaking of this story, Parzival and the Blue-Eyed Spear Witch clearly didn't get a happy ending. However, the people of Mondstadt never knew the true ending to their tale. Instead, they wrote songs that gave them a happy ending as a motivational tale, which is seen with Wine and Song. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the lore of the evil Eberhart. I know Natlan just came out, but I still need some time to review the new lore, so I thought it would be fun to go back and cover Mondstadt lore. Videos on the lore shown in the two new artifact sets should be coming very soon though. If you want more Genshin lore in the meantime, I recommend my videos on random Genshin facts and Mondstadt's Aristocracy. With that said, I would love to hear what other bits of lore you'd like me to cover in the comments below as well. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Sources and further readings are also in the description if you want to check them out. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next video.